You're listening to the weekly Parsha Podcast with Ari Goldwag, recorded with Hashem's never-ending assistance in Ramah Shemesh Israel, 5779, 2018. This week's Parsha is Breishis. We're at the beginning of the Torah, and I'd like to share with you the introduction of the Ramban. Ramban is someone who I like to quote. I enjoy his commentary, and it's often based on different ideas in Medrash, as well as Kabbalah. And so I'd like to share with you his introduction, which gives us his approach, and he's really talking about his Perush, but it helps us understand what is the story, what is going on here, what is the Chumash about, what are the 5 books of Moses about, why does the Torah, which was received at Har Sinai, which Moshe Rabbeinu gave over to the Jewish people, why does it not speak from his perspective at the beginning of the Torah, why does it switch perspectives, why does it speak about him in third person, etc. We're going to discover many different ideas within the Ramban. We'll see how much of it we can get through. And it's really beautiful, special, and I wanted to share it with you. Sefer Breishis. Psichas Ramban al Torah. Here's the introduction. Moshe Rabbeinu kasav ha-sefer hazeh im ha-Torah kula mipiv shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moses, our teacher, taught the entire Torah, including this book, and it was received from the mouth of God. HaKarev shekasav zeh b'Har Sinai. And the Ramban says that what seems to me to be is that Moses actually wrote this, it's referring to Genesis, on Mount Sinai. Kisham nemar lo, because there it says, this is a verse in Exodus 24:12, Alei elai hahara vayesham. Come up to me to the mountain, God says to Moses, and be there. And I'll give you the stones, the tablets of stone, meaning the 10 Commandments, and the Torah and the commandments which I have written down to teach them. Okay? Ki luchos haven, you see a few things in this verse. One is the luchos haven, the tablets of stone. This includes the tablets and that which is written on them, which is the 10 commandments. Mitzvah, what is the concept of the mitzvah, the commandment, which is referred to in the verse? Misaper or misefer ha-mitzvahs kulon is referring to all of the commandments, positive and negative. In Cain, so what is the last thing that's described in the verse? V'ha-Torah, and the law. Yichal ha-sipur mitchilas Breishis. So this includes the stories from the very beginning of Genesis. Because the stories, very interestingly, the stories of Genesis teach us the concept of emunah, of faith in God. So it's important to learn this. It's important to understand as we come into Genesis, what is the purpose? Why is God telling us the stories of Noach, of Abraham, of Isaac, Jacob, the 12 sons? Why is it important for us to know? Besides for, it's important to know where we come from, to understand where the Jewish people originates. But the foundation of it is because it teaches us emunah, it teaches us faith in God. God created the world. God bequeathed the land of Israel to the Jewish people, etc. We need to understand the background in order to understand who we are, where we are coming from, and where we are today. When he came down from the mountain, so he wrote from the beginning, he received it on Mount Sinai. When he came down, he wrote it down from the beginning of the Torah until the story of the description of the Mishkan, of the tabernacle. The end of the Torah, which is, I believe, Deuteronomy, and the stories in Bamidbar and Numbers, which happened at the end of the 40 years. So that was written down at the end of the 40 years. Kasher Amar, as it says in Dvarim Lamed Aleph Chavav, Deuteronomy 31:26, take this Sefer Torah, and place it next or inside of the Aron, the Ark of the Covenant. And this description, the Ramban says, that I'm telling you, is based on, or it goes according to the opinion of the one who says in Gittin, in the tractate, in the Talmud Gittin, Daf Samach Amud Aleph, page 68, Torah Megillah Megillah Nitna. The Torah is given one section at a time. But according to the opinion there who says the Torah was given complete, meaning it was written at one time, so then according to that opinion, the entire Torah was written down in the 40th year. When the verse, when Moses was commanded by God, as the verse says in Deuteronomy 31:19, which we spoke about recently. Write down this song and teach it to the children of Israel, place it in their mouths. So when they wrote down the song of Hazinu, so they also wrote down the entire Torah from the beginning to the end. And they were commanded to take the Torah and place it next to the Aron, the Ark of the Covenant. So the Ramban asks the obvious question which we asked before. Since it's all written by Moshe, it's all given over to Moses at Mount Sinai, the entire Torah from the beginning, from Breishis Bara. He should have started off the Torah, not with Breishis Bar Lakim, in the beginning God created, but rather he should have started off with, God said all these matters to Moses as follows. Why is it that it's written without that introduction? Moshe did not write the Torah as if he was himself speaking. As we do find by other prophets, we find other prophets that when they write their prophecies, when they write their books, so they write themselves, they mention themselves. As it says in Ezekiel constantly, the word of God was to me as follows. He said to me, Son of man, it says by Jeremiah, the matter of God was as follows. So we see that the prophets did speak that way. They did write that way. Moses, so he wanted to give us the lowdown, the entire history of all of the earlier generations, and also his own yichus, his own linealogy. He spoke in the third person about his own lineage and all that happened to him. That was his style of writing. That's why it says, it says that God spoke to Moses and he said to him, as if he's speaking about other people. So Moshe wrote the book, but he wrote it in third person. And since Moshe is writing the story in third person, he's not speaking about it as if it's himself writing. That's not how he wrote the book. So he doesn't start off the Torah saying, this is what God said to me. Rather, he speaks out the entire Torah from the beginning, telling us the story, telling us what happened in the third person. Why is the Torah written in this way? It's because the Torah came before creation. Obviously, the Torah came before Moses' birth. As we find that our tradition states, the Torah is originally written in black fire on white fire. So Moses, he's like somebody who's copying from a previously written book and writing it down. And that's why he wrote it without saying, this is the word of God to me. Because he was actually, in a certain sense, just copying a book that was already written. It was written by God. But this is clear and true. That the entire Torah, from the beginning of the book of Genesis until the verse Le'enei Kol Yisrael, it was said from the mouth of God to the ear of Moses. Like it says later on in Jeremiah chapter 36, verse 18, with God's mouth he called to me all of these matters, and I wrote it down on a book with ink. So now we start off telling us the Torah describes the creation of the entire world and all of the hosts of the heavens and the earth. Telling us from the beginning, from the highest heavens, from the spiritual beings, down to the very physical beings, to the very earth itself. Included in the Torah, this is very foundational, this is very fundamental, important idea. Included in the Torah is, we have a nevuah, we have a prophecy which tells us about Maaseh Merkava. Maaseh Merkava is the workings of the chariot, which Ezekiel describes in the first chapter of his book. Included in the Torah itself, hinted to, says the Ramban, is Maaseh Merkava, the workings of the chariot, which is a reference to all of the Kabbalistic concepts that were given over explicitly in the oral tradition, but they're also referred to and can be learned out from the written tradition, and also Maaseh Breishis, the concept of the creation of the world, which is also a Kabbalistic idea. It's not just the simple pshat, the simple understanding of what's written in the verses themselves. There's a deeper depth that's contained within the verses as well. The power of those that are hewn, or that hew, and the power of those things that grow from the earth, the soul which causes everything to be animated, and the soul which causes the human being to speak. Right? So we have different levels and different aspects. We have the physical, we have the spiritual, we have the inanimate, we have the animate. All these things were told over to Moses in regards to their creation, umahusam, their essence, and their power, umaseim, and their actions, that which they do, and those things that take away from them. Everything is in the Torah, either explicitly or it's hinted to. So Ramban is telling us a foundation that everything is contained within the Torah. Everything is here. All of that which is described in the oral law, all of the halachas that we have, all of the Talmud, all of the Kabbalah, everything, all of the concepts are founded in the Torah, hinted to, either or written explicitly. Our sages tell us, there were 50 gates of wisdom which were created in the world. All of them were given to Moses except for one. You made him a drop less than God. Meaning, there are 50 aspects of wisdom, of understanding, he's going to explain soon, but these also have to do with the different levels from the bottom to the top, from the physical all the way up to the spiritual. So the highest level is something which is all-inclusive, cannot be understood by the human mind. So Moshe got 49 levels. And this is referring, the Gemara, the Talmud is referring to the fact that there are 50 gates of wisdom. When it comes to the creation, the hewing out, the creation of the space within which God is going to create the world. So that's one aspect. The creation of the sprouting of the earth, that's another aspect. It's another gate of wisdom. Creation of the trees is another aspect. Creation of the animals, the creation of the birds is another aspect. All the things that are referred to in the Torah as being created, each of them has one of these 49 aspects. The Torah gets then to the creation of the human being who speaks. So we can understand the secret aspect of the soul. We can understand, based on the Torah, we can understand the power, the essence of the soul. And it's possible through the Torah to reach a place, and I know of such people, by the way, who can actually tell, they can look at a person, and they can see that this person stole. It's possible to see on a human being's face, lines that are etched on his forehead. It's possible to see through the Torah, through the wisdom of the Torah, someone who's been an adulterer. Someone who was with a woman who was menstruous and hadn't been taival on a mikvah, hadn't gone to a mikvah, which is a sin. So it's possible to see that on a person. Interestingly, the greatest thing that a person can tell through the Torah is if somebody is involved in black magic. And from there, a person moves on deeper and deeper in understanding through the Torah to understand the highest heavens, the spheres, etc. Each one of them has a higher aspect of wisdom which is not contained within that which is below them. we have a tradition which teaches, based on the Kabbalah, that the full number of all these aspects is 50 minus 1, 49. And it could be that the 50th aspect, the final one, has to do with the understanding of God, ultimately, which is not something that any creation can have. Don't worry about the fact that it says there were 50 that were created in the world, because the 50th is not something which is created. Speaking about most of them. The 49, but the final one is not created because it's reference to the understanding of God, which predates everything, which is not created. We find this number hinted to, 49 and 50, in the counting of the Omer. We count 49 days, we don't count the 50th day. And the number of Yovel, where we count 49 years, the Jubilee year is the 50th year. As I'll speak about the secret aspect, the depth of the idea when we get to that in the Torah. Everything that was given over to Moses in these gates of wisdom, it's either written explicitly, like we said, or it's hinted to in the words of Bigamatrios. It can also be hinted to in the numerical values of the words. Each letter has a value, so a word has a numerical value. Or the way that the letters are written. Biksuvas kilchasan, when they're written as is supposed to be. Ameshtanas b'tzuras, and sometimes letters change. There are larger letters, smaller letters. There are other traditions which we've lost since the time of the Ramban. Also, you find that there are letters. Some letters have little markings on the top of the letters which look like little crowns. So there's hints in the crowns to concepts that are deep and awesome. Gemara says, when Moses came up to the heavens, the Gemara Menachos tells us on Daf Chav Tes Amud Beis, page 29b, when he got up there to heaven, so he saw that they were tying crowns onto the letters. So he asked God, he saw that God was doing this. He said, what is this for? There's going to be someone, it was a reference to Rabbi Akiva, who's going to learn out many, many laws from all of these little lines, these little crowns on the letters. The Gemara continues, etc. Gives a whole story. Moshe Rabbeinu is brought to that future time. He sees Rabbi Akiva darshaning. He sees him giving over his shir, his lecture, and he doesn't understand what he's saying. And at the end, so Rabbi Akiva says, the students ask him, how do you know this? And he says, learn halach l'Moshe Misina. This is something which is learned over to Moses at Sinai. So Hashem was showing him that it's something that the depth of which is going to be understood later on through him. These are things that can only be understood through the tradition all the way back to Moses at Sinai. Well, we have a little bit of time left. We'll read a little bit more in the introduction. We're not going to get to read the whole thing, but it's just beautiful. So important to understand as we go into Sefer Breishis, as we begin the Torah again. What is the Torah? What is the depth of it? We find reference to a book which was written about all of the crowns on the letters. This is a book which is found, everyone has this book. It tells you how many letters have these crowns, how many bases, aleph. The rest of the letters, it tells you what is taught. It teaches us what we learn out from each of these letters. The fact that we have this amazing book, the fact that it's so amazing is not because of the crowns themselves. It's because we can understand the depth of what these crowns mean. So this Rambam many, many secrets and deep ideas. There in the Medrash it says, verse says in Devarim in Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 13, and you told them his covenant. Sefer Breishis What is Vayagid Lachem referring to? It's referring to the book of Genesis, which is the beginning of the creation of the world. That he commanded you to do. What is that a reference to? Aseres Hadvarim. It's referring to the 10 commandments. Asar lemikra, asar letalmud. 10 to be learned, 10 to be understood. And there's going to be different prophets that are going to come in the future, and they're going to reveal to the people of Israel different secrets that seem to not have existed from before. Whether it's Elihu, Ezekiel is going to reveal the secret workings of the chariot, the Kabbalah. It's going to be revealed the pshat and the understanding of what the verses are speaking about. But it's not brand new. It's not a new concept. Even the Arizal, who spoke a few hundred years ago, or anything that we are revealing today, we're trying to understand today, the depth of it is a revelation of something which was said to Moshe at Sinai. Everything is learned out from the Torah. Okay, so let's see. Should we read a little bit more? Let's read a little bit more. And we'll finish off with this last concept here, which is not the whole. I highly recommend checking out the rest of the Ramban. The whole entire piece is beautiful. King Solomon, who had an awesome wisdom, he had an amazing understanding. Everything that he had, all of his wisdom, was not learned out from secular sources. Everything that he knew and understood was based on the Torah. He studied the Torah, and that's how he was able to understand all of the results, all of the things that would be, all of the applications. He even understood the power of all of the different herbal medicines. He wrote a book called Sefer Refuos. It says, this is in 1 Kings chapter 5 verse 13, that King Solomon spoke about the wood, the different types of min ha'erez, different kinds of herbal things that could be used for medicinal purposes. So he was able to understand that from where? From the Torah. And he says, and he's going to translate, I'm not going to read the Aramaic, I'm just going to read the Hebrew, but he says like this. The Ramban quotes from a certain sefer. Another thing that we see is that the person is a king or a ruler, so he doesn't have a special power. All people come into the world the same way. They all go out of the world the same way. People are born and they die. Doesn't matter how rich they are while they're here. Same thing about Ubavur Kanis Balalti. This is King Solomon speaking. He saw that this was true, and therefore he prayed. God gave me a spirit of wisdom, a karasi, and I read, meaning I read the Torah. Bali ruach das. As a result, I had a spirit of wisdom. I preferred more than even having the rulership. So King Solomon is telling us, where did he get his wisdom from? He got it from the Torah. And he continues. God is the one who gives wisdom. That doesn't contain any falsehood. To tell us how the world came into being. That which has to do with the constellations, the stars, from beginning to end, the top, the bottom, and how all that exists was created, how time was created, the way that the stars were placed in the sky, the different aspects of the animals, the thoughts of man, the power of the spirits or the winds, the way that the trees interact, the power of the roots. I knew everything that was concealed, I knew everything that was revealed. The Ramban says, how did he know all of this? Again, it was because of the Torah. And he found it all within the Torah.
in its explanations, in the fine points by Yosef, and its letters, and in those lines, Kasher Karti, as we mentioned. So I want to finish off by just summing it up that we need to see, we need to understand, as we begin the Torah again, as we begin to explore and try to understand the Torah, that everything is contained within the Torah. All that we need to know in regards to business matters, all that we need to know in regards to the secrets of life, the depths of creation, the spiritual realms, and the revealed realms, everything is contained within the Torah and can be found and studied from our works, the Torah works, the Talmud, the Kabbalah, the Gemara, the written Torah itself. Everything is contained within. And as we explore together with another new year, as we continue to explore together, I want to bless you and I ask you to bless me back. Hashem should help us to understand the depths of the Torah, to understand how the Torah applies to us, how it applies to our lives. Hashem should help us to be able to keep the Torah better, to have a deeper understanding, and to be able to apply it, like I said, and to understand the deepest depths of Hashem's will for each and every one of us. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful Shabbos.
This podcast was made possible through the gracious donations of listeners like you. For more podcasts like this, please visit www.arigoldwag.com or search on iTunes Ari Goldwag.